So the next step is to lay out the ground, the white, and this in my hand is handmade paper. This is actually a practice sheet. Generally, Indian paper on which you do miniature painting is called a vasli paper. It is made out of single sheets which are then glued together. You can use 3, 4 or 2 sheets together, and then it's called a vasli paper. This is just a practice sheet, but all of the paper that I get for myself and also for the class comes from India, from a little village called Sanganer in Rajasthan. And we can actually even put in a link in our video for anyone who wants to get this paper and other materials that we'll be using throughout our course. Very, very easy to access. So this particular sheet is specifically for doing practice drawings. So first we will take some water, because we don't want to apply too thick of a layer on the vasli. We just want to, on this paper, we just want to make it into a smooth surface to work on. So we don't need to apply too much safeda on it. So which is why we'll really dilute the paint that we already made. We'll just take a little bit from here. And this is all being done in preparation for the first brush assignment, which will happen after this step, in which we will be using and learning how to use the squirrel hairbrush. So we will do a similar sort of thing that we did for our first pencil assignment, that we will make a grid once again and do certain similar sort of assignments just to get our hand into practice. And for that, all I need is, I don't need the whole surface, so I'm just going to roughly cover the central part of this sheet with the safeda. The key is to really wet the brush, to flood it, and wherever you start from, it's almost, the idea is that you're trying not to touch the paper with the brush. You're only allowing the water to flow. So the brush is just allowing the water to flow down, which is why I've put it at an angle. So with the gravity, it comes down naturally. And I'm making sure that the water is always flooded on the paper, so that the brush doesn't really touch the paper at all. It's just gradually and gently allowing the water to come down. Which is why for this application, we need a slightly larger brush, an 8 or 10 or 12 size brush would do. Sable hair, ideally. Because the aim here is to get as smooth and flat a wash as possible, because if there's any residue or if there's any unevenness of the white pigment, it'll always show. Even after you've applied paint or other drawing on top of it, it'll always show. So it needs to be really, really evenly distributed. And if you tilt it too much, then there's a fear of water just draining down, dripping down. So we don't want it to drip either. So it has to be at a at the correct angle. Can take out the excess water, dry the brush once you're done, and then you can just lift out the pooling water right at the bottom so it doesn't pool at the end. Then we'll wait for it to dry for maybe 2 minutes, and then we will rotate it and just maybe do one more layer just to really make sure that any pores or any unevenness of the paper is blocked out by this opaque white pigment. So we'll wait for it to dry for a second, and then we'll do it one more time from the other side. The paper making family that we get this paper from is one of the last maybe 1 or 2 families left in South Asia that are still making traditional handmade paper, particularly for this traditional practice. And their lineage, they trace their lineage back to pre-colonial times, back to when their forefathers were working for royal and noble families. And in Rajasthan, it's the only place where you can get that paper now. All right. Now we will wait for it to dry, and then I will tell you the next step. So this paint has dried now, so we can actually start the next step, which is to burnish the paper. And just to let you know, you might be wondering where we are right now. We are actually at the Williams College Museum of Art's Rotunda. It has really good light, and it's a very beautiful, nice space to do these sort of workshops. But when I do this demonstration with the class, we will be going to the studio building at Spencer to do this. So for burnishing the paper, the idea is to make it completely smooth, almost like a marble or glass-like surface, so that the brush, when we use it, really runs on it. For that, we don't directly burnish the actual surface. We take a very smooth surface like glass, or it could be a marble slab. We turn the paper upside down and then burnish it. Traditionally, usually we use the backside of a large tiger cowrie shell, but then you can also use something which might be more available for someone, like as long as it's completely smooth, it doesn't have any edges. For example, even this Muller's smoothed out side would be perfect for burnishing it. You could use a smooth paperweight, for example. So I'm just going to use this, but usually we use a cowrie shell. And we do it in 4 main directions. First, we go like this. And I'm putting in quite a lot of effort in it. You're not just touching it lightly, you're trying to really burnish it so that all the fiber becomes one with the pigment. Fiber of the paper and the pigment become meshed together to create a really fine top surface. And in the light, when you shine light on it, you can actually see the lines. And so you can see that if there's too many gaps in between the lines that I'm making, that means that I'm not doing the burnishing right. It should be a really flat, smooth surface. And when you turn it upside down, you can actually see a little bit of that shine over here, but there aren't any lines here. And when you touch it with your finger, you can see how the unburnished part is really coarse, and suddenly the other part is very smooth. But the more we do it, the smoother it'll get. Make sure to do the entire square that you applied the paint on, and then you do the other side. So first we did it like this, now we do it like this. So that there's no non-burnished space left on the paper. Everything is evenly burnished. Traditionally, in workshops, they're mostly family-based. So you have always understudies who have been recently inducted into the workshop. So usually they do all the menial labor. But in this, of course, we all have our own independent studios, so we end up doing all of the work ourselves. But historically, there would be some younger initiator, younger student making the pigments, somebody else grinding the pigments, somebody else doing the burnishing, and then the master artist would just be doing the actual design and painting. But everyone goes through all these processes as they are learning these techniques. You can see it's getting really smooth now. And then we do horizontal, angles as well, just to make extra sure that there's no extra unburnished surface left. So we did this first, then we do this, then we do these two angles as well. You can see how the paper shines in this after it's been burnished. Also here, it's parts that have been burnished can be really smooth. So our next step will be to make a little grid, not as big a grid as we did with the first assignment, but we'll make a small grid and we'll see how much in this will fit. Maybe an 8 by 5 rectangle, and then have 1 inch squares in that. So we'll have 40 1 inch by 1 inch squares inside, and then we'll do our first experiment and try out with the squirrel hairbrush. So that will be the next step.